We now arrive at the property of padding. Padding is the distance between the edges or borders of an HTML element and the content within it. Padding can be applied to any HTML element, but most likely you're going to use it with your divisions or div tags. Both length and percentage values are available with the padding property, although there is no auto value and negative values cannot be declared for padding. Let's take our container div again and this time add some custom padding. Let's add some custom padding to the left side. Notice that I've chosen 25 pixels of padding here to the left. If I change this to 45 pixels, notice that my content moves over to the right. Let's go ahead and apply 25 percentage points of padding by removing the px and putting in the percentage declaration, like so. Percentage in this case refers directly to the parent element's width. So if the padding left 25% is declared, that will equal 25% of the parent element's given width. So here is the total width of this div tag, and I'm taking 25% of that and adding it as padding to the left. Now, one very important CSS skill is to ensure that your page content sits exactly as you desire on all browsers and does not inherit browser defaults. Notice in this example, although I have removed all of my margins here for my div tag, I'm still sitting a little bit off the left edge of the page, and I'm down also a number of pixels. So in order to remove this default browser margin and padding there on the edges, you're going to want to define default values for your page margins and padding. Do that with a body declaration here. Margin equals 0, padding equals 0. Notice that as soon as I add 0 for the margin and padding, my container sits flush up there against the left edge of the page. Different browsers place different default margins around the body element, so until all browsers agree and can settle on either margin or padding defaults to provide default spacing and consistent spacing, it's recommended that margin and padding be given values you desire in the body selector, as I've done in this example. This way, if I do want to add some margins for my div tag here, I'm starting from a consistent location up here in the upper left-hand corner. For example, now if I want to establish a top margin for this div tag of exactly 20 pixels, since it's now sitting flush against the top of the browser, I now have an exact measurement there of 20 pixels margin from the top. This is much more consistent, easier to predict. So I definitely recommend that you use for all of your pages this body declaration here of margin 0, padding 0. Obviously, values of 0 will remove default spacing entirely. So it may be that you prefer to set margins to 10, 20, 30, or maybe even 40 pixels, whatever you need. But again, by starting out with no padding, you can start your page layouts from a consistent and uniform place. Let's now move on to the next movie and review in more detail the border property.